Welcome to the Joplin and Andrea show. We're broadcasting today from Honduras. We've got a great show, brand new program to tell you about, and some special guests. Thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, we just want to welcome you to our show today. We're really happy because we have some new guests with us and some first time travelers to Honduras. I'd like to introduce you to Larry and Rachel Moore. I'd like to introduce you to Lindsay Angleton and Lizzie Martin. We're just really excited to have them with us today. We'll share a little bit more about their experience this week as the show goes. But the first thing that we want to kick off with is we have a new program started here in Honduras, and we just want to fill you in on what's happening. So, Joplin, you
Yeah,
take that
super
first.
pumped to announce officially what we're calling Extra Mile Missions Youth Impact. So we are starting a program this year, 2025, for all the youth students, that is kids 7th grade through 12th here in Honduras, are part of our program. We've needed it for years. We've been talking about it. We're going to have kids aging out of grade school and into middle school or high school. And our program, it's an awesome program, but it's really built for children. And so once the kids get 12 or 13 years old, they really don't want to go to the kids' Sunday school anymore. We normally had, last few years, 2 or 3 kids aging in, but now we're talking 20, 30 kids a year aging into our youth age program. So we've launched something new, and we're very excited about it. We're planning on having a documentary made up. Hopefully we have that thing released here in the next 2 months that kind of details the life of some of these students. Andrea, you had that idea that we capture some of that to share with our sponsors. What made you think of wanting to do a documentary?
I just thought it would be a great idea because so many sponsors want to know why their students drop out at 6th grade or 7th grade, 8th grade. And there's just such a need in their communities for them to work. And whether it's coming in town to vend and sell different things that maybe they're making at home, such as tortillas or fruit, or whether they're out helping pick coffee, or they're just needing their kids to work in the field. And so there's a lot of different things that, culturally we just don't understand. And so being able to have a video of some of our kids actually laboring in these different avenues brings it a lot more into perspective. So
one of the things that is important, I think, for people to understand about this particular culture is that it's really not necessary that every student finishes high school. In some ways, 6th grade here is very similar to 12th grade back home, as far as the expectation that it's a good thing if students will continue through 6th grade. And a lot of especially the boys that are planning on living on the land and taking over, the responsibilities of the family, and they're going to be farmers. There's honestly not a great need for them to take the next 4 or 5 years of their life to go get more education. They've got what they needed through 6th or 7th grade, and now it's time to take on the responsibilities of a man. And there's similar situations for the ladies as well. And one of the things we wanted to do was find a way to continue ministering to these kids. And we'll encourage them to continue to go to school. But if they don't, as long as they continue to attend the program, show up at their youth event each week, communicate with their sponsors about what they are doing, we're going to allow these kids to continue in our Youth Impact program. We're hopeful that they'll invite friends as well. We're really hoping that Youth Impact kind of becomes an evangelistic part of our ministry, where we can start reaching some of the youth students that we didn't reach previously through the children's program. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, super excited. Not only are they going to have the opportunity to continue to grow in their faith with somebody who is just knowledgeable of the Bible and continue to help them in that education portion, but we're hopeful that once this plan gets established more and more, that we can maybe occasionally introduce some things, such as if students want to become a nurse, we can have a nurse come out there and share what it's like to be a nurse, what the requirements are to become a nurse, to help hopefully build some interest in some of those areas those students have said in the past, hey, I would like to be a nurse, or I would like to be a police officer, and just educate them more and more through this program as well. So
we'll probably start crafting some of our mission teams, specific weeks to maybe have an emphasis on spending some time with the youth students and giving them some training and some education on just kind of everyday work type stuff. So really excited about it. It's amazing to think that in 5-7 years we've been here, however long it is, that we're launching a youth program. So pray for us. 2025 is going to be a big year, and be looking for that documentary to come out here shortly. All right, let's move now. We've got our team members here. I asked these guys if they'd be willing to join us to just kind of let us interview them, get their feeling and feedback for what it's like traveling over here to Honduras, experiencing the mission field with us. We've got a couple here that I think this is the second time they've experienced missions. We've got two others that this is their first time on the mission field. And so really excited about that.
Yes, super excited. But first, we have came off of a great week. Amen. But it just about didn't happen.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's talk a little bit about that. We got ready to pack up and got our group text message going, and we were supposed to leave Tuesday morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, or meet there at the airport. And we got a text message Monday morning at 8 a.m. sharp saying they canceled our flights, all of them. There was bad weather going through Houston, and Houston doesn't know what to do with bad weather. So everything was grounded, and we were stuck figuring out what was next. So,
and typically in that situation, you push it back 2 or 3 days. You try to see if team members can stay 2 or 3 days beyond what they planned. It wasn't going to work. Houston wasn't promising to get us into Houston and out of Houston until Saturday. And
we have a team coming in the next Tuesday. So there was no way they would just collide together. So
somehow really had to be the hand of God. I really believe that with all my heart.
Yeah.
We were able to leave, instead of leaving later, we were able to leave sooner. Yes. We found out at about 11 a.m. that we could get a different airline if we could be at the airport in 4 hours. And texted everybody and said, hey, we can make this happen if you can be there.
Decision now.
And so I think it was 5 hours we had about. And every single team member was able to make it.
Yes.
We made it here on time, and it's been a great week. So let's talk to these guys. Let's get some of their thoughts. And I'll start off with before the trip. Did any of you have concerns or worries or doubts leading up to your trip? Lizzie says yes.
All right, Lizzie,
what were they, Lizzie?
So I was nervous because I didn't really know anyone coming. I mean, I knew Jessamine very well, and I've had a couple conversations with you guys, but I was supposed to come with my best friend, and she bailed on me. And so I was like, oh no, I'm not going to know anyone. What am I going to do? I was like, I'm just going to go. And it's been great. I've loved every second of it.
Awesome. We love to hear that. Somebody else want to speak to that?
Worries or doubts?
I was worried about safety, just with, the presidential stuff going on and just general safety.
And how's your experience been? Is there any point you have felt unsafe or worried or scared?
Not at all.
Good. That's good feedback. We're glad to know that. So
I worried a little bit about the physical part of it. Can I climb the hills and such that I heard that we would need to do? And I remember when we were climbing, straight up for a home visit, I looked at Larry and said, God is stretching us. And he did, exactly did. I mean, just mentally and physically, but it's been worth it. It's been worth it.
Awesome. Well, let's speak a little bit about we have this idea of what something's supposed to look like that we have in our own heads when we go somewhere. Is when you were finally here, has it been anything like what you actually thought? No, not at all. What is your?
The first thing I noticed was the narrow paths and the walkways that the parents and the kids have to take either to work, to school, to church. I mean, they're just trails straight up the mountain like a goat.
We have to travel.
That was the first thing I noticed.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anything that you had in your mind that you thought, this is what it's going to be like, and you got here and it was like, oh, that's not at all like it, whether it was good or bad?
No. The cobblestone streets in the town, those are interesting. Those are quite fun, and just going up the mountain, the bumpy ride, and I don't know, I just don't think about it. I mean, I knew we were going to be driving up the side of the mountains, right? But I didn't know how bumpy and rough they were going to be. But
Yeah,
It's okay.
you know, one of my most favorite things here is the cobblestone streets and all of the history because it's so much original stuff and we just don't have that at home. So, yeah, that's one of my favorites.
So, what was maybe one or two of the most unexpected things that you experienced coming? Maybe that moment that it was just like maybe a wow moment, something you couldn't have anticipated. Was there any of you that sort of had one of those just really unexpected experiences?
Riding on the truck from the airport to the village was the scariest thing in my entire life. We survived. Um, and then the 2 hour like pause in traffic and just worrying about when the next bathroom break would be.
Yeah, so that's the ride from the airport here. It's the longest ride. Once we're here, and it's not that big of a deal. But that ride from the airport, we ended up with a 6 hour ride because we had a 2 hour delay. And if you've never been on Honduran roads and this is your first time experiencing something like this, yeah, it can feel
Make
a
you
little
nervous.
panicky.
Yeah.
A lot nervous.
But
A
we
lot
always
nervous.
make it. We always make
Yes.
it. Anybody else? Something unexpected you experienced?
For me, I wasn't expecting like the villages and stuff to be as grateful as they were and like as happy because they don't have the stuff that we have in America. And in America, that's what we think is giving us joy is all the stuff we have.
Yeah.
But in reality, that's not what we need. We just need to be grateful for what we have, like the people in the villages.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's good. All right. Any thoughts about like the program that we have going here? Like, you have any thoughts or anything that you want to share about just the ministry?
I would like to say, like Joplin said earlier, we had gone on another mission trip, and I want to say this organization, Extra Mile Missions, does go the extra mile, and I'm like Lindsay. I never felt unsafe here. It's an Extra Mile Missions. You guys have thought of everything. It's a well-oiled machine, and I doubt it. Like the ride here to from the airport, I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't know if I'll come back. But after this week, undeniably I'm coming back. So you guys do a great job, and you make it a trip that is nice. That we even get to go out to eat, and we get to help in the kitchen. We get to become a team together and be with other people from other churches, and it's been great getting to know your people from the well too. It's all been good.
From your all's perspective, because you did have the opportunity to go out like into the mountains, right, with us to serve with us there. We did backpack distribution. We did a fun day at one of the sister churches that you guys are partnered with in our Kingdom Partnership Church. You're able to see a little bit of what's going on out in the villages. What are your thoughts on that work? How would you explain it to maybe you go back home and someone's like, well, what are they doing there? Is it making any difference at all? How would you, in your own words, explain from your perspective, what are we doing here?
Without a question, I think not only you can see it, you can see the process working. As soon as you walk in the door, and I think the work's great. I mean, just this next level of the teens, the group you're getting ready to start, just to allowing those kids to move forward. It's exciting because a lot of times you get information, but you guys have really, I wouldn't tie on to what she was saying. Extra Mile Missions and you guys, I wasn't scared in the beginnings because we were fed information, whether it was through you directly or last year's trip, members talking about it. And there was no fear. Information overload before we even scheduled it to our flight. The scariest part, I told Andrea, was the first 10 minutes with Rusty. After that, everything's been great. But the information, we've done everything you said we were going to do. There's not been any questions, no worries. You've taken really good care of us. And through that, we were able to experience the love for these kids and their families. And this teenage is just the next step. I mean, I don't know where God's going to take it from this, but you guys are doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
So when we come over on a trip, we always come over to serve. I mean, that's what we're doing. We travel here to serve and minister to as many people as we can. That said, one of the things that happens is God has a way of ministering to you when you show up to pour into other people. And I would just be curious, maybe as individuals, was there anything this week that you put your finger on to say God really ministered to me? I was impacted personally because of this week.
I would say like it's a beautiful picture, like seeing it from the beginning to the end, and like all the pieces that go into it. And you'd never know who's watching you back home or here. And you are truly the light to others, and you don't know who's watching you or who you're impacting. Um, Somebody you haven't seen in years from high school might be watching your Facebook, and seeing what you're doing. And that might spark an interest in them or inspire them to do something for others.
Anybody else on how you were impacted this week?
Well, I had the privilege of coming over and doing haircuts for the kids. And I get teary eyed thinking about it because the kids that sat in my chair, at first they were a little hesitant, weren't sure about it. But once it got started, I had them lined up and I couldn't cut fast enough. I was like, and I'm already praying that another hairdresser or barber will decide to come, or many more hairdressers and barbers, because that's part of our job. Is, I mean, what I like about my job is helping people feel better about themselves. And it was also saving, them money if they do pay for haircuts, or maybe their neighbor that cut the hair, they don't have to do it that one time, whatever it may be. To me, it was, I love being able to come over here and do what I love and be able to use, I mean, God's given me that talent, I believe, to do it. And just to have them, and I prayed over them when they sat in my chair and I cut their hair. I
That's
prayed
awesome.
over them. So
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Anybody else on that? Way you might have been personally impacted this week?
Rachel and I had sponsored a child before we got here, and I came over here with the mindset that I was going to sow into this child. But when we went on the home visit and we watched the child's father walk up straight up of a hill from work and got to the top of the hill, and as soon as he seen us, he was just as happy, as excited as he could be. And I asked him if he worked hard today, and he said no, it was cool outside today, it was nice. He said the hardest part about his job was getting to work, down up and down that hill. But the Lord started speaking to me, and it's all about the kids over here, but the Lord started showing me that if we can take care of that father and make sure he's healthy and can get back and forth to work to provide for his family, that's just what the Lord impressed upon me.
Amen. Amen. Anybody else want to share anything about the child sponsorship program?
I think it's awesome. I get to bring home to my students at a high school, Christian school, about serving others, and I just can't wait because I want to start like a service club, whether it's a small piece of serving in our community, and it could go bigger. It could be bringing a whole crew here. Who knows?
Wow. Yeah.
One of the things that I think is communicated to us quite a bit is that people are surprised at how quickly and truly authentic the relationship is with the kids they sponsor. It does feel like family in a single week. A lot of times saying goodbye brings tears. How would you guys describe that connection with the kids that you sponsor?
Today was goodbye day, and I looked. Someone asked how that felt, and it felt a lot like telling my grandkids goodbye when they have to go back to Arkansas. You're right. It's just their love and on you, and at the same time you're pouring into them, and it's really no. I mean, it's really no different at the end of the day.
So if I could share real quick, when we were feeding the kids chicken and rice, there was a group of boys just all lined up together, and the last boy, I went to hand him the plate, and you would have thought I handed him $100 bill, $1,000,000. Yeah. And that's how him and I connected. And ever since I handed him that plate, he's just, like Larry said, he just really likes you. And we ended up sponsoring his little sister, and then we got to go to their home and meet the mom.
Yeah.
Of course, the dad was out working, and now we've been told by the mom today that there's a medical issue that his dad lost his eye, and so I think had we not been here and not had that event today with them and been able to visit, we may never have known the need for that medical uh, for his eye surgery that he's needing a third surgery on, but he can't afford it. And also, they need a mattress and a mosquito net. We may not have ever known that. And so today I felt like that was a step of, okay, how can we help you? And then we got to visit about their needs. And so I'm excited to, today we purchased a bed and a mosquito net because they needed it. And I hope I'm excited about what more we can do.
Yeah.
So.
That's so true, because so often we are made aware of needs through team members, and it's because we bring over teams, and as a team we can do so much more. And so we're able to reach out to people that I normally wouldn't connect with, he normally wouldn't connect with, our staff wouldn't normally connect with, and able to see a need that God put in our path this week. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Before moving to our final question, did either of you want to say anything about your connection with your sponsored kid?
Yeah, so I have only been sponsoring Ruth for since September. And so she didn't really know like what I looked like. And so I show up and like all the kids are so sweet. So they give you lots of hugs. So she gives me a hug. And then Andrea goes, "This is your sponsor." And her eyes get so big and she just lights up and gives me the biggest hug ever. And then today for pool day, she saw me. She gets off the truck, sees me, and comes running at me. And it was the most precious thing ever.
Aww.
And you just feel so loved by the kids.
Yeah.
I felt like a new mom, like anticipating it. Like I didn't know what to expect because I didn't know if I was going to have a child or not. And meeting my kiddo was awesome. He's very straight-laced and doesn't smile, and everybody tried to make him smile, but at the very end, before we left, he grinned at me.
Yes.
And he also gave me a hug, and he has a little dimple, and he's the cutest little thing ever. So
All right, well, last question. To somebody that might be watching, and maybe you go home and you know somebody that's been thinking about going on a mission trip, but where we started off, right? What were some of the worries and anxieties and fears? Maybe they're on the fence. They're not sure about coming. What would you say to that person that's thinking, I might want to come, but I'm not sure?
do it. Do it. Face your fears. They need us just as much as we need them, and just do it.
Make it happen. Just make it happen. God will provide a way, and those fears will disappear. And allow God to stretch you. I mean, I think sometimes we can become so comfortable and complacent where we are, and we need to get out and we need to be stretched. I think it's definitely worth it.
All right.
I say go for it. Back to the information part. Ask questions, but honestly, there's so much information that you guys have given us throughout the week alone and before, and it took the ease off because I just felt comfortable, because of what you had told us before and just being around you.
I just want to ask Lizzie real quick, specifically because we have a young adult trip that is scheduled to come this July. So speak to our young adults a little bit, maybe one that's on the fence, one that's like, is it worth my time? Is it worth my money? Because it's expensive to travel and come over. So maybe you can share just a little snippet to those that are thinking about it in that age range.
I would say it's absolutely worth it. These kids have really changed my life, and I'm going to take so many more trips to Honduras. I really am not ready to go home back to America because this place is just, I can't even describe it. You just have to experience it. Like, I talked about how I was nervous, but like these people have friends that they're going with, and you can experience that with like your closest friends, which is just life-changing. So I say go for it.
Awesome.
All right, well, that's it for this version of the Joplin and Andrea show. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining
From
us this
Honduras. Thank you to our guests for being with us. Thank you for traveling with us, trusting us. It's been a great week, and we'll be back with our next show at the end of February.
week. See you soon.